Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo, and I'm walking in from the side of the screen, which I don't normally do. Hi everybody. I've had a hell of a weekend, and I mean it's been a hellish weekend. Um, the best characterization that I think I can give of the way that my last few days have gone is something along the lines of an extended series of panic attacks leading up to a Dungeons and Dragons game for which I was ill prepared. Um, and then that happened. Luckily I had the stones to not cancel it, despite being extremely ill prepared, and to be kind of honest with my group about what had been going on. And we talked it out, and it ended up being fine because people are usually okay. You know who's not okay? Kibutsuji Muzan. He's an evil boy. What a transition. What a transition. He's a very evil boy, and he's taken over some portion of the red light district. We've met up with Sound Hashira Tengen Uzui, who has a weird way of dealing with other people and an interesting character that I haven't quite figured out yet. Haven't been able to put a defining label on him, and maybe I won't be able to, and that would be cool. Met up with that lad and offered our services to him as an adventuring party. And so we're going on an adventure to I've debated for the last few minutes about whether I should say this, but I'm going to say it anyway because it's been stuck in my head and it really wants to get out. It really wants to get out of my head. We're going to the horror store. Oh my god. And that's what I needed to say. Sorry, needed to say it. We're going to the horse store. We're going to the entertainment district. It's the red light district. There will be lots of geisha, lots of entertainment, lots of songs. I assume lots of shamisen players, lots of masked theater. There's a ton of weird and interesting artistic stuff that can be done with this kind of a district or this kind of an area. And there are about 1,000,002 places where demons could hide, or pretend to be clients, or pretend to be prostitutes, or pretend to be singers, or pretend to be any number of things in order to get their demonic claws and fangs into the tender little throats of unsuspecting passers-by. Which is pretty exciting and also terrifying because we're going to be some of those unsuspecting passersby, and I imagine that some of us might get our claws and fangs into the throats and stuff, you know? At the very least, there should be some close calls as Inosuke and Zenitsu get pulled in different directions by all the stuff that goes on around them. It's a wild world out there. It's going to be very different for our characters and very different for us. Again, we've spent a little bit of time in cities and amongst civilization, but we're going to be dead center in the middle of a city. The entertainment district is usually, it's a smoky, red lit, interesting space where all sorts of interesting characters, nefarious and not, and nefarious in demonic ways and just nefarious as human beings, get together and do all sorts of stuff. Some of which is, totally fine and valid, and you kind of, you might get the moral squibblies about it, but really that's more a compunction on your side than on the side of the people. And some of it is theft and lying and murder and the devouring of others for your own purposes, whether that's literally devouring their flesh like a demon or just devouring their livelihood, life's blood, their work, and their effort. It wouldn't surprise me if there's some allegorical stuff that goes down here. It's sort of, we have trouble, I think, separating things out. And so when we deal with first off a time period, then a space that embodies a whole bunch of vices, you might say, whether you think of them as evil or immoral or not, they're still vices, they're still temptations. And then the people who give into those vices, you get this wide landscape of the darker parts of human nature. And because, like most stories, Demon Slayer to me is an allegory about the darker parts of human nature in lots of ways, as well as being a layered on shonen where there are literal demons who literally eat you. The demons are also allegorically representative of something human, something, that guy down the street who might just murder you because he's angry at God or angry at the sky or whatever the fuck he's pissed about. So when you have this sort of multi-layered allegory thing, and then you apply to that the space of sin broadly defined, like religiously defined, and whether you agree with it or not, it's a complicated space and a weird psychological space to enter, and, well, there are lots of sneaky things that can go on. Kibutsuji Muzan, for example, is not currently in the form of weird, sexy prostitute lady right now. He's currently a little boy living with a pharmaceutical company. How we're going to get from there to there, I don't know, and we'll have to just watch and find out. How our characters interact with the space that they're entering, how they enter the space, and what roles they play, because, well, I don't think that they're just going to walk around going, we're members of the Demon Slayers, we're here to, anybody got any demons to kill? Because that seems like all the demons would walk away from you and be like, oh, bye, peace. So maybe we'll do some disguising stuff. There's plenty of opportunities for things to go wild as that occurs, and for our characters to have lots of like little interaction moments or encounters or events. You can tell that I'm thinking in a D&D space. Little encounters or interactions or events that reveal more to us about the space that they're in, as well as revealing more to us about the characters, especially Tengen Uzui, because we don't know anything about his character. You know, we can put Inosuke in most situations and have a pretty good idea of how he's going to act. He's going to find anything that's large and attack it. He's going to find anyone that's hot and stare at them. He's going to be weird and shout about how cool he is and how strong he is. Like, we can figure out most of the character, just we know him pretty well. Tengen Uzui, don't know. Any of the random other characters that we meet, don't know. And that's something else that I'm curious about, is how will we get a deeper emotional tie-in to the characters of the arc? Are there people in this space that our characters will come to care about? For example, there's an image in the OP sequence that we got where there's like a woman and two younger girls who are all dressed up in finery, and they seem like they might be the kinds of individuals who would be more deeply characterized, and our characters might end up garnering a relationship with them, and that could give us some emotional weight and emotional stakes and some victims, some people to put in danger, because you want your players to do, and your players to do a thing. Putting some people that they care about in danger is a really great way to get them moving. So that's my weird landscape of the way that I'm thinking about moving forward into this arc. Our previous double-length episode was lovely and did a whole bunch of catch-up stuff for the vibes and the feeling and the emotions and the style and the flow of Demon Slayer, as well as introducing us to Tengen Uzui and just nominally introducing us to where we're going. But now we're going to actually start going there, and I'm quite curious to see what that ends up being like. Okay, drawing of the day, that's a bad Tengen Uzui. You can tell that I'm trying to work out some of the musculature and articulation of the back, especially the lower back into hips area, partly because I should know it better than I do, and partly because it's fucking complicated. And it's one of the things that I keep running into as a difficult problem of anatomy is you look at anatomical diagrams of any type, and they're like a cutaway of all the things, but they're always in a stiff pose. And they always cut away to a certain set of layers, and so really understanding how all of the mechanics of the complicated systems that are the machine of the body work together all as one it's like a harder problem. It's difficult, and it's taking me time and iteration and multiple attempts to get anywhere closer to drawing more effectively. It's freaking hard. It has to do with my own physicality. I have this inclination that if I can figure out where all the things are supposed to be, then I'll be able to hold them in that position, and it's gotten better. These last 2 days have been far better for me in terms of my hips and my breathing and my rib and my pelvis and the places that everything go. Still pretty miserable in a general sense, so apologies if I make some weird faces or it looks like I'm trying to push my guts back in, because I am. Okay, I think that's all the things that I needed to say. I hope that my tea has cooled down effectively. It's getting there. Let me see in a minute. Imagine I was just pouring this onto the desk. There was no teapot here. Okay, tea is now brewing. Let's get to the doing. All right. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else to talk about here. Kimetsu no Yaiba, Entertainment District or Red Light District arc, Season 3, Episode 2, Season 2, Episode 2, however you want to phrase it. We're going to watch it. I got it up and ready to go. 2 versions, picture-in-picture. Oh, doesn't exist. Beep beep timer. Yeah, that place. Tosha. What? Honestly, vibes of like I will be a gangstar. Mm. Mm. Good. Mm. I mean, no. Sensei. Very flashy. Uh. 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 Machikai naku. You are not a king. That one's an idiot. Yeah. Yeah, they're gonna butt heads a bunch because they're insane. Kimoi! Yeah, you're not even worth his distaste. If you can. Where'd he go? Ninja stuff. Ninja stuff. Just running real fast. Thank God we're gonna be gone from the weird simultaneous talking tiny children. Ah. Ah! Oh yeah, I didn't mention we highlight the shit. Tsuba. The Tsuba really heavily. It's like, will Tanjiro grow into this, is how I read it. I didn't think that we'd be making Tengen Uzui so goofy so quickly. I like it. It takes some of the tension away. Those 3. And we're gonna have him become Biwa player or Shamisen player. Fuck off, moves on. Fuck off. Yeah, I like those sections with the backgrounds where Zenitsu lands and slices out. Infiltrating the entertainment district! Oh man, we're gonna get some bad plans. I can't wait. Details, backgrounds, art. Where is Tengen Uzui? Wow, what? Okay. Did you see that? How did they do that? It was like painted over. Uh. Uh. Oh, no, Zenitsu immediately. Immediately. T minus 0 seconds. 0 seconds. Is it something to fight? Ah. Mm. Oh my god. Electric lights. Vanity and desire of men and women, huh? Nope, he's just gonna attack randoms. Uh-oh. That's not what I expected. Oh, time to herd cats. Yeah, what's got him in a tizzy? That does. They have candy. What are you gonna do? Ha ha ha. Yeah, put them in a box. Just put them in a box. Hmm. Yeah. Tailor-made. Hmm. That's Muzan. Wisteria. Oh, so like the... Hmm. Is it related, I wonder? Well, you're what? That's not what he's talking about. First, find me a wife. Very different. Very different. I think he does fine. Ah, certainly. Oh, how dare you! You greedy, leave some for the rest of us. This establishes that dynamic nicely. Nah. Because she knows. Because they know. How are you gonna not stand out? Your whole thing is standing out. How are you gonna do that? Okay. Huh. They're also all slim thick with the sexiest outfits ever made by man. So flashy, flashy, flashy. Yeah, closer look indeed. It's a weird polycule you got going on, man. I don't get the joke. I don't get it. Oh, outfits? Outfit time? Oh. Outfits time? Crazy hairpiece. No. No. Oh. 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 Is that? I'd rather not. It's a really. Oh, so it is makeup. The eye dots. They're not a tattoo. Little zaps. Are you a JoJo's character now? Oh, he's off. Oh, where is he going? Are you still pissed about the 3 wives? Oh, I see. You bastard. How dare you? God, the mouth thing it's awful. Oh, wow. That was spectacular. Sorry. Just the feet 11:28. Yeah, this is again like semi-rotoed or something. I don't know how did they do that? Huh. It's pretty flashy. Quite the opposite of a of a walk of shame. She's doing the weird slippy, draggy, footy thing. Oh. Huh? Why? How how? She looks angry as fuck. It's all sharp lines, huh? What did you do? Ugh. See, that seems like a bad situation. You're the worst. Nobody wants you. Brutal. The prettiest boy. So really, that's it. Yeah, quite sturdy. They're such beefcakes right now. We just had all that training shit. Huh. Hmm. Well, we're not gonna Zenitsu, we're not gonna sell you for your body or your looks, so I hope you have some other talents. And there we go. They put a lot of effort into this. Like a lot of effort into this. Good. Oh, jamming out on the shamisen, yeah. So ugly. Hmm. Just stealing all the wives. He's just pissed at Tengen Uzui. Absolute fury. This is fun. This has been paced out really steadily. Um, I've found it really pleasant. It doesn't feel like it's in a rush. It's taking its time to set everything up. Come on, guys. Come on, people. You got eyes. You'll have eyes, right? Just carries all the boxes at once. Hmm. Yep, there it is. Carry all the things. Yeah, rather brawny and beefy. Kinda cool. Oh, tiny children. Ah. Oh, really? Is that so? Yeah. Yeah, what's Ashinuke? Because I can't put that word together. Nope. Oh. Flight. Yeah, because you're owned. Hmm. Ah, the one with all of the hair work. So this is a central character. Wow. Placed inside that background. Fantastic. Is she the Oiron of this place? She certainly is. The Dragon Balls? Can I make a wish? Covered. Yep. Sliding behind. Yep. Absolutely. Dude, you're in a world of intrigue. These people are fucking experts now. Don't tell a stupid lie. Don't tell a stupid lie. Cannot assume a normal expression when he lies. Good. Totally taken in stride. So something else has gone down. Hmm. So that's a plant. And remember that Suma is a spy, like actually a ninja. Very convenient. They can just leave. Yeah. Yeah. Just to make an assumption. Fascinating. Oh, that looks so cool. The lighting on the tiles, the. Mm. Sucked into this space, yeah. Oh. It might be worse than that, man. Oh man, it might be worse than that. I believe it. You are stuck, though. Oh boy. Oh, time to listen. Very pretty. Hmm. 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 Investigation. God damn it. Slowly, slowly. Yukuri. Yukuri. Yeah, everything moves slowly and slowly, slowly. The fuck is this? Oh, bondage. Oh, hot. Uh, okay. I I will say nothing. Oh, that's hot. I didn't know that we were in the kinky season. Okay, okay, everything is set up. Our random infiltrations have happened. All of our characters are undercover individually, except for Tengenuzui, who's on the rooftops and capable of acting. And there are bits and details to find out. All tangled in all the woven webs and weird patterns and all these other things. Yeah, cool. What was that? Wow. That was really that was really cool. I love that little shit. Okay, there's a minute and a half left. We'll just let it play. Yeah, why do I have to wear all this bullshit? Never gonna happen. I couldn't see what it said. I couldn't see what it said. Oh, there's a minute left and it's just gone. Okay, cool. Cool. What did that say? Yeah, the little. And I'm going to. Oh, a mirror. Fucking brutal. It didn't have to say anything. You just have to show him the truth. It's the best joke in the whole thing. there were there are a couple of really good gags over the course of this. Um, okay. Bunch of stuff gets established. Tengen Uzui's 3 wives established for us. The goofiness of these characters as they interpret and misinterpret each other is great. So I think it's it's an edger. I was wondering what that you may or may not be able to hear it, but there's some sound going on. It's like and look, and my neighbor is cutting the edges of his yard. Edging his yard sounds wrong, especially in context. but okay. So power dynamics. Power dynamics are all throughout this episode. We establish a power dynamic between Tengen Uzui and the trio. At least he attempts to, and kind of succeeds and kind of fails because they're having none of it, essentially. The characters question him on all sorts of things, and then discover that Inosuke is just as dumb and insane as he is, and they don't get along on that front. You might expect that they would. They don't. Bam, he's gone. Bam, we're gone, and away we go. So we get some stuff kind of laid out for us in a way that makes a little bit more sense. These 3 are all 3 his wives, and all stunners. Pretty interdasting. These characters are the Oiran and 2 of the younger acquisitions, which is horrifying, of whichever one Tanjiro has ended up at. I'm just gonna sort of fully brush over that they are completely unable to see through the disguises of any of the characters and just assume that they're really ugly girls, because it's quite goofy, and I think it only works in this kind of a storytelling medium, but it works. So, I was curious about this. This character is implied, as far as I can tell, I might be wrong here, but as far as I can tell, is Muzan as an Oiran, as a geisha, as a prostitute character, has the same fan of pins as the kind character of the trio that we see a little bit earlier here. So the fan of pins, but this characters are round and have little flower patterns in them, and Muzan, I assume Muzans are these little trapezoidal, curved, like axe blade sort of shapes. Interesting. So similar designs, but not the same. Whoosh, wham. And suddenly we're in action, and we're jumping, running, chasing, running toward danger. Okay, cool. Backgrounds, glow, light, setting, feel of place is totally different. It feels like it's at night. These are kind of astonishing accomplishments in terms of setting up an episode and getting all the processing and the post-processing and all the lighting and all the feeling of everything working. It feels like it's at night, it feels like it's in a city, and feels like it's indoors. This cut, as this moves by, I don't understand how they did this, because it's moving relative to itself, right? It's sort of parallaxing across itself as though it's a 3-dimensional object, but my 3D senses don't tingle. So I'm totally uncertain what's going on here. It's not a 2D image being shifted and warped. It's not, as far as I can tell, just a 3D image because it's painted. What's going on here? It must be a 3D object. It must be. The movement is too right on. I can't tell. I can't tell at all. I have no idea what I'm looking at. So you can get this effect by layering 2-dimensional layers on top of each other and shifting them perfectly. You can get this effect by having it as a 3D object and moving across it so that the angles of everything shift. But 3D objects look a certain way, and 2D images that are parallaxed look a certain way. And this looks like a 2D image that's parallaxed but has infinite layers. Like there's no gradation point. It's not like it's 3 layers of mountains that go past each other and create the illusion of depth. It's like it's infinite. It's like every chunk of it moves. I have no idea. Look, there's this warping that's happening here. It's all throughout. There's this shift. It's got to be a 3D object. So that's novel looking to me. That's really novel looking to me, and we're going to have to keep an eye out for anything else that looks like that. That looks impossible, because that looks impossible. That's weird looking and really interesting. All right. The ladies who are only here to case the joint stay on the cart, and they're gone. And it's instant. Too many people, too many hotties. Hey, little boy, come get some candy. Yep. And we drop back and explain the reality of what's going on here. Sparkles and dazzles at night and sleeps during the day. Perfect for demons. And then, underneath that, these women are owned. They're sold here due to poverty and debt. In exchange, they get clothing, food, and lodging. And they have the chance to move up in the ranks. And we focus pretty heavily on those who do move up in the ranks. There's no focus yet as to what happens if you're not very good at your job. Because that's an interesting set of questions. It's the kind of thing that you don't usually want to investigate in a shonen. You don't want to get that deep into it, because it gets a little dirty. But demons are pretty dirty, so maybe we'll turn our attention to the darker side of this sort of an institution. I don't know. It's an interesting chapter. It's an interesting space, because it's, first off, it's real. Second, it really still happens. Not in the same way, obviously, but in many ways. Brothels exist. Madams exist. These things they're not gone. And they were very real, and have been very real through large swaths of human history. And we like to not think about them. So it's pretty interesting to me that the author decides to go and investigate this space, or at least set some storylines and some story arcs in it. Really interesting. The patterned backgrounds are closing in, is a feeling that I get. It's like when Tengen sits on top of the roof and says, everything feels weird. It feels like there's smoke everywhere. It feels like I'm being surrounded by something, by a haze that makes it impossible to see. I get exactly that feeling. As our characters are getting entrenched in their identities, in their falsehoods, there's this tempting, blurry, infatuating pull, this dreamlike haze that occurs that pulls everybody in. Honestly, in some ways, not unlike the dreams that are created inside the minds of the characters during the Mugen Train element. There's a real temptation to just give into this world that's surrounding you. And to me, that's embodied or held by the patterns. The wallpapers, the strips of cloth, the tassels, the fabrics, the textures, the patterns of this place are the trappings. They're like the shiny color of the Venus flytrap, or the sweet sticky stuff that gets the flies to come in, right? That draws you in. And there's something sickly about the environment as a whole that's all covered up by these shiny wallpapers in some real sense. And so when we get to the ED and we've got these tangled masses of the fabric rolls, the silk patterned swaths, those are like individual characters, but then they're also a tangle. They're like a weave, and they're a spider web, and that spider web is Muzan at the center and the demons at the center. But it's also the texture of the landscape. It's the walls themselves. It's the space itself. It's the identities of the characters. It's the people themselves and the interactions themselves and the ties between them. It ends up being a kind of a potentially really rich landscape, visually, emotionally, for putting our characters into a very uncomfortable space where everyone has their guard up because everyone is an expert liar in this space. And that's something that we get a little hint of when Tanjiro asks his question. And we get that, I thought it was a really cool scene. We get this really cool scene where his face begins to obscure hers, and she becomes very careful. in her positioning and posture and facial expressions and speech and all of these things, becomes very careful. Because she's an expert liar and he, like, almost forgets it. Because you can be straightforward with people, and Tanjiro is utterly straightforward with people, but you're not in a place where straightforwardness is a virtue. In fact, telling the truth in a place like this can get you killed. Everyone is lying all the time, and to some extent it's their job. It's what they do. Pretend obedience. Pretend demureness. Pretend invitation. Pretend. And it's lies built on lies. Ooh. The breadwinner on whom each house has lavished time and money and expects its investment to be repaid. Right. The scene is lovely. The way the light fades. Produces a softness of skin and tone and shape. A roundedness that's clearly what they're going toward, and I think it's beautiful. I think it's really cool, while still being dark and somewhat terrifying. All right. To here, and we get the information on the wives. We're not just gonna go and find a bride for you. How dare you? Zenitsu saying stupid shit and getting punched is gonna be a continuous thing. 3 wives, stupid shit and gets punched. Stupid shit and gets punched. Good God, even just like a frame from far away, they pose these ladies sexily. Like, damn. Tengen Uzui has an eye for slim, thick. Has a preference, and all 3 of his wives are identical in body type. And I can't disagree with him, for sure. Cannot disagree. Say a stupid thing, get punched. Great. The nape of the neck being shown is very sensual for the time and place and also the cultural differences. I just realized that I have to keep that in mind, that there are huge and dramatic cultural differences in terms of what we find sexually attractive, and dramatic differences between what's found attractive now and what has been found attractive traditionally. The very made-up, built-up, layered geisha look with all of the makeup and the immaculate hairdos and the layers and layers of clothing are one thing. You get a much more like a much less traditional, much more socially normative in the present view of sexiness from the trio of wives. They're very much modern women as opposed to these ancient traditionalists. So there's something being done there, and I'm not sure what. Straight up introduction of these characters as horrifying, way too made up. They're quite ugly, though. And it's just Tengen Uzui charming all of the mistresses, making it happen. Fucking amazing. Does this character in the background take a glance as well? No, that character is just moving as is, so that's good. Gets yoinked because he's watching the Oiran parade, and we have to watch the individual moment here. These super tall, I've never seen sandals like this. I mean, I imagine that they really exist. Yeah, so that's too perfect, right? Just like the Hinokami Kagura, there's some rotoing going on there. There's some reference point that's going on there. I've been wrong in the past, and I'm willing to be wrong again, but I'd guess that there's something like that going on there, and that's cool. It ends up being striking and standing out, and that's the point of it, is like, you know, Inosuke says a little bit later, oh, she moves so slowly, she'd totally get eaten in the mountains, but that's the point. That's the whole point. It's that the slowness, the deliberateness of the movement catches your attention. And in some ways, that one is moving that slowly is an indication of a complete lack of fear, a total confidence. Interesting. Yeah, so here we get the 3D rotation of the face. She moves, everyone moves. She moves, everyone moves. It just flicks. The nose piece, it just flicks from one side to the other there. Dink, dink. So that's human. Whoever did that intentionally, like swapped that intentionally. But the actual subtle movement of the pieces of the face architecture has to be 3D. It's fucking interesting. We get it from afar now. And it's even more like, whoa. That's quite a little piece of human movement. Like the Hinokami Kagura, or like the dance scene at the shrine in Kimi no Nawa, Your Name, the movie. There's a roto dance scene in the shrine that looks like that in a lot of ways. Very specific movements with the... It's really cool. I like... So, one could look at that and say, it's gross. It's not. It doesn't have the tender love and affection that an individual animator puts into their work. And I disagree. It looks interesting to me. It's striking and it catches my attention and I like it. I don't think that it can take the place of much of the dynamic and expressive animation that we use and see all the time in anime, but for some things, it works really, really well. All right, I'm going to buy this character, the horrifying eyes, all angles, all sharp lines and stuff. Gross. Totally fine. Oh, what a beauty. What a score. Jamming out on the shamisen is a good joke. And this character is so knowingly sitting there being like, that one has the fire in her. It's a good joke. The whole setup of all of the three characters, getting them entrenched in their different establishments, it takes the whole episode to do it. It's kind of a magic pacing. It feels really subtle and slow, like there's no rush to it, and I think I mentioned that before, but it does that without feeling like it drags. I don't feel at any point like it's too slow or like it's failing to move the plot forward or like we're getting stuck in anything. It's oscillating between these little joke sequences or these little dramatic sequences and these establishing sequences that just keeps everything churning forward in a way that I really like the storytelling dynamic of. Okay. Yell, yell. Very brawny, very brawny. And we overhear these two talking, talkity talk. Some people manage to run off, and these two characters give us some lovely exposition about Ashinuke, the practice of running the fuck away. Because you were sold into slavery, essentially, and you'd like to not be there being forced to have sex with strangers for a living. Literally for your living, so that you don't die. It'd be nice to not do that. So running away seems like a good idea, but the penalty is doom. Is a harsh one. So that's an interesting dynamic, and as Tanjiro says, what a perfect cover for the demons. Everyone will just assume that they've run away. Nobody wants to be here. The deliberateness in motion is always there in the Oiran. It's like, okay, so remember I said that the framing is like it's like walls, it's like traps, it's a tangled spider web. It frames everybody and people are a part of it. It encapsulates you. The environment around you captures you and boxes you in. I want to talk about that specifically in relation to this character, the Oiran, because you're at a place of highest not power or authority, but like highest regard in this strange society of prostitutes and geishas and landowners and the owners of the different houses and the madams and all that stuff. So in a space like that, you're a person with great authority over many of the others around you, but you're also like a prize cow where you're valued because you produce something, right? Because your beauty and talents and all of those things bring money into the house. You're an investment. You're an apparatus of the business, not just a person. And like, this is the case if you've ever watched any like interviews with CEOs or interviews with PR people for a business. They're not individual people. They can't be. They're not in that context. Now they probably go home and they act like a normal human being with their family and their loved ones and whatnot, or not. I don't know. One can assume. But when they're on stage or they're on a talk show or they're doing an interview or a podcast or something like that, they're not a person. They're an apparatus. They're an arm of a business. They're an arm of a larger organization. And that's the feeling that I get from this woman here, is that she's a person who can't be a person ever because there are always eyes on you. You live in this space. The children around are part of this space and gossip and will tell rumors. The facade must always be up, always. So she comes in, stops spreading those rumors, and has a good justification for it. There's something else, which is the way her eyes are built. They're pupilless, essentially. They end up with this like soft, deep brownness, but because it fades slowly into the darkness at the center, they end up feeling pupilless. So they're a little doll-like, a little bit glassy, a little bit weird. We go from here and we chop out to when the two girls say right. We chop out and we're surrounded by koi fish in a pond, right? We're surrounded by, I'm not going to dive, I could go deeper on that and be like, koi fish, they're stuck in a pond. They can't get out. I don't think that's it. They're very pretty. People look at them. They live a long time. Pretty in the pond for your purposes. Okay, we can go there. I think that actually makes sense as a framing device, very literally, but they do frame her and they box her in. So she enters the space, holds up the hands. This is the correct action to take, is to give you some candy, right? It's the Dragon Ball. Okay. I like that you can sort of tell exactly what kind of hard candy this is. With the little bubbles in it. It's very cool. And the shiny striations created by the sugar. It's very cool. It's gorgeous. Makes me realize that I can't draw balls. All right, let me just do some sketches. So you can create vertical striations while doing horizontal shading on the okay. Did some sketches. Very helpful. I feel like I might be able to draw balls now. Sometimes. So Tanjiro asks the question, did Suma Oidan commit Ashinuke? There's this blink. Does the mouth change during the blink as well? No, it just feels like it does. Walls up, right? And he begins to slide over across her face as she begins to speak. Blink. Why would you ask a question like that as a divert, right? It's a flip. It's an Uno reverse card. Reverse! It's on you for asking that weird question. Why would you ask something like that? Boom, and he realizes that he's made this mistake. I have to find a way. Candy, candy, candy. And, well, this is an important plot point. Tanjiro is a bad liar. I love that we cut to this, not just black and white, but silent film style for this sequence. It accentuates everything. I wonder how it's done in the manga to make this happen. That they chose to turn it into a silent film sequence. Either way, doing it with the title card that tells us about what Tanjiro is feeling while we're jumped out of scene, right? Real scene is happening, camera is inside scene. Now we're out of that and we're in a thing that's so many layers of fake. Like, not only is he playing a role, he's playing a role inside a film behind a camera on a screen in a filmic sense that has intertitles and is silent. It's like, it's so divergent from the reality that we're supposed to be believing in that it's kind of amazing that we just sort of take it in stride and almost ignore that it happens. It's really freaking interesting. And it doubly interests me the way that he's so wrapped up in the lie and they don't even think twice about it, right? He's as suspicious as he could be, as sus as he could possibly be when he tells this lie, and they don't think about it at all. They don't suspect at all. Which to me indicates something about the society that they live in, that people get sold here for all sorts of insane reasons all the time, and it doesn't really matter to them. That's dark. That's dark. Huh. You were sold after your sister, and that just makes perfect sense. Why not? Sadness in those weird glassy eyes. Such a grounded girl, but they found her diary and she'd written about it. So who wrote that in the diary? Or did Suma write that in the diary as a like a lead or something false? I don't know. We're going to rescue you no matter what, Suma-san. And here we have your boy sitting here, all quiet today too. I'm getting a really bad feeling, like being enveloped in smoke. Could it be an upper moon demon, or could it be worse? I don't know. Who's the child? Who's the adult? Because that's Muzan Jackson right there, right? That's what I think. I think that's Muzan Jackson. I hate it. All right. Rumors. Inosuke's about to barge in on the thing. And we do this very fun CG shot. Again, spider webs, cobwebs are being deeply evoked here and work perfectly. And also, that's hot. Didn't know that I had a thing for that, and now I found out something about myself. What are you gonna do? You're gonna find stuff out about yourself thanks to anime. Thanks. Appreciate it, anime. Powered by Pixel Shake. What the fuck is Pixel Shake? I just saw that. You see that in the side? Powered by Pixel Shake. What is that? Unfortunately, there are a couple of companies called Pixel Shake. Kimetsu no Yaiba studio coordination, editing coordination, and they did some online editing and video editing and Sword Art Online alicization. Okay. And some on Vinland Saga. Okay. Interesting. The issue that I run into is that there are a bunch of companies that have called themselves Pixel Shake, on like LinkedIn and elsewhere, and they're not the same company. So, tough. Okay. Setting established. Positions of the characters are placed. The game board is basically set, and it feels to me like Inosuke is about to discover the first step, the first piece of information that leads them directly to one of the three wives, and from there will probably lead to a sequence of clues and get things speeding up. Feels like, okay, so episode 1, the two-parter, is bring us back into the realm of Kimetsu no Yaiba. We do like a little demon mission that isn't super relevant, do some training stuff that builds up our characters and builds their new space and where they're at individually in terms of their head spaces. Set up where we're going with Tengen Uzui, cut off. Tengen Uzui and the boys go to the red light district. Da, 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 da. Yeah, okay. Always Sunny theme plays. Go to the red light district. Everybody gets over-engaged in all these different directions, as expected. Everybody, especially Inosuke and Zenitsu, are pulled at by this space, and Tanjiro, being a much gooder boy and a little bit more centered, is not as much at least. Also, he's got Nezuko with him, and it's unclear where he's storing the box and how that's going, because, like, what if somebody opens the box? Where is he putting the box? Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Establish all this stuff about the three wives, where they're at, what the mystery might be, how they've disappeared, why they've disappeared, unclear. Ashinuke gets established. Certain specific oiron and characters are established. 3 houses are established. Characters are sent off to the various houses and begin to investigate. And at that point, we're just waiting for somebody to stumble into something interesting, and Inosuke's about to. And then we roll initiative, I think, and things get hairy and start to light up. Cool. It feels like, when a this is a weird one, but when a locomotive begins running and it goes cha-chunk, 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 and we get the momentum going. Feels like we've had 2 rotations of that momentum. Chug, chug in the slow pace of the first one. Chug, chug, still a little bit slow, but getting there. It's moving toward the thing. And we're going to kick into gear in the next episode. I'm excited for it. So we'll leave off here with our second chug complete, and we'll see where we're going next. This Nosuke's about to stumble into something spicy. See you next week for more Kimetsu no Yaiba. Thanks for watching. Peace.